I'm quite certain that there's divine inspiration waiting for you. Basically, the path of least resistance is the way to go about it. What is most easy? Like, this is really how God works. That's how law of attraction works. As soon as it's available in space time, at the very next availability in space time, God gives it. Hello, my friend and earthly neighbor, and welcome to another fabulous fun-filled week in 2017. Well, we just had a solar eclipse in Pisces last weekend. That was a Get Out of Karma free card. And Sensei says this week you'll be discovering a whole new piece. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a delightful way to begin every weekday. I'm Christopher Witecki, your humble host and spiritual life coach. It's so good to see you back. Namaste. Well, this week we will start to venture into true spirituality. The universe gave us a blessing last weekend. A solar eclipse in Pisces is basically a get out of karma free card. The universe was helping you cut away lower baggage, lower vibration, basically trauma and drama that you were born with or born suffering over. Now that that is beginning to be cut, this week you venture off into the sea of potential paradise, and it's time to find your peace. So in our segments this week, I'm going to talk about finding our peace in the upcoming This Week segment, and in our tea time, I'm going to bring up the G word. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and this week's zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Monday, February 27th to Friday, March 3rd. Looking at the 5-day moodcast, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the best days, and Friday may be a little uncomfortable. Let's take a look. On Monday, it's going to be sunny and healing. You'll be recuperating from the solar eclipse and starting to wake up. On Tuesday, it's Love Fest Day, the most loving day of the month to give and exchange love. So it's a sunny and loving day. Wednesday, it's sunny and growing. You'll be expanding out of comfort zones. On Thursday, it's sunny and learning. You'll be putting new things into your head. And on Friday, it's cloudy with a little bit of shifting, which may be a little uncomfortable. Well, this week, my friend, we are looking for our personal nirvana, how to get to that place. So in the upcoming segment this week, I'm going to talk about the planets and what you can expect. Taking a peek at the upcoming week, I coined this week, Finding My Peace. Now, we had a solar eclipse over the weekend, this prior weekend, and in my opinion, that is a blessing because it's in Pisces. So the universe was literally giving a big blast of compassionate energy and the energy to be able to let go and move on. So hopefully people were able to do that. I was monitoring comments on our NamasteToday.club, and people seem to have some vivid dreams, but no major traumas. Now, sometimes, though, we might find that some sort of violence or some sort of trauma does come out in the next couple or first couple of days of the week because, strangely enough, when the universe delivers a lot of peace, I usually find that disharmony sort of erupts. But I argue that was already waiting kind of under the seams to erupt, and the peaceful, gentle energy actually opened it up. But the good news is I think that's it. I think we are breaking away from karma we were born to. I believe the soul, over many, many lifetimes, holds on to our dramas. If we don't take time and space with them on Earth to kind of work with them, we can't let them go. And looking at the outer planets, we have been letting karma go and facing our fears for 20 to 30 years now. We are now ready to cut those ties and move forward. Now, this week, in my opinion, is about letting go very gently of that old past and floating toward your peace and, ideally, your nirvana. Nirvana comes next week. This week, we're just going to be going for peace. In fact, this is basically a week of planting the seeds of personal peace. Looking at the moon, we begin in Pisces, then Tuesday we move into Aries. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of that energy is going to be about you emotionally manning up or womaning up, okay, to be there for your peace, to do what's necessary for your peace, to stand up for your peace, to step forward into your peace. So there'll be some tension in those middle days to kind of get it moving. Then the moon moves into Taurus, and so we'll be emotionally then manifesting the seeds of our peace, and that's when our soul garden begins to grow, is when the moon moves into Taurus. That will be at that point the seed of peace, and that will be actually starting Thursday and Friday. Then, interestingly enough, after we plant these seeds of peace, on Sunday, Venus goes retrograde. And that's a big deal. A Venus retrograde means that we're going to open up the stitches of cosmic time, and we're likely going to bring back an old story from our past lives. I know this because I've been watching Venus retrogrades for a long time, and this is what always happens. Past life memory opens up. Because this Venus retrograde begins when the sun is in Pisces, I can almost guarantee past life stories open up. Now, when I say past life stories, at this point in the cycle, these are probably unfinished stories. Like, for instance, in a past life, you were going to be a superhero, but you fell off a cliff. Unfinished story. So the past life superhero comes back in the Venus retrograde. It could also be, I think, and I'll talk about this in the tea time, but I think a lot of us have had a lot of lifetimes about spirituality and trying to push forward with spirituality. And I think some of these egos, these old spiritual egos, are coming forward again, and they're coming forward after we have cleared all of our traumas and our dramas and our issues. So you don't even really have to be conscious of this and watch my show or watch any show. I think every human being is going to be subconsciously stepping into a past life character and picking up that story with this Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde lasts 6 full weeks, and so it's going to be interesting. She retrogrades in Aries, by the way, and then goes back into Pisces. And what that means is we're going to be receiving old issues of character in Aries, and then old karmic issues with Venus and Pisces, and then Venus goes direct, and we move forward with that story. I've been talking about the story we're born to live. Well, this is all part of the unfolding of the story we're born to live. In fact, up until now, I'll just say that anything you've dealt with on Earth, and this is looking at the outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, looking at where they are, and looking at our entire generations on Earth, it doesn't matter what your age is, everything until now was basically basic training for you, getting you back up to speed, getting you clearing from your karmic past, clearing some, lower vibrations and fears out of yourself so you could pick up this story that we're going to pick up this week and move forward with it. I think another big symbol of this story moving forward is Mars on Uranus, which is how we begin the week. And Mars on Uranus says it's now time to innovate our personal story, innovate our action and behavior, innovate our definitions of man, because it's Mars in Aries, right, and Uranus in Aries. And so I think, in that innovation energy, this is also what we're going to pull out of our past life basket with this Venus retrograde coming out. We're going to be, taking the story that we wanted to finish, and we're going to be beginning it right when humankind is trying to figure out what should a man or what action should be taken. So we're literally going to be in a fertile place to begin to plant this past life intention into the moment or into this lifetime. It's going to be interesting times. And I have to say that at the end of the week, the other crazy thing about it is Saturn conjuncts the galactic center on Sunday. So basically, Venus goes retrograde on Saturday, and then on Sunday, Saturn strikes 12. That means that we are now officially at the beginning of the story we were born to live. That means from the time of before the elections in Scorpio up until now, we've been unpacking that story. We've been letting go of the old story. And so literally by Sunday, I think, with the Saturn conjuncting the galactic center, this is going to be the story you were born to live. Now, a lot of people have actually written me and been worried and stuff like, I don't know what the story is I'm born to live. Don't worry about it. It's funny how it unfolds, but sometimes, our fate happens in the strangest thing. You could get a job in a Twinkie factory, okay, and it's in that Twinkie factory that you meet the love of your life, and that's the beginning of the story you were born to live. The other thing is that Saturn's going to retrograde. We'll be talking about that. And when Saturn retrogrades, kind of like the sound of that plane landing. Forgive me, I can't help but have to say something about it and apologize. But with when Saturn retrogrades, you're going to after being introduced to the idea of living in a Twinkie factory, okay, there'll be 6 whole months of like figuring out what that means and understanding what we're going to do with it. And we don't really put into play the story we were born to live until the end of the year when Saturn hits the galactic center again direct for the last time. So nobody should be nervous about not knowing enough. Just observe. And that's what this week is about. It's time to find your peace. It's time to observe inside yourself where that peace is, and it's time to make that peace a home base. Okay? This is super important for many, many reasons. Some of the reasons are the fact that it's time for us to own our own spirituality. It's also that there might be times ahead where people react by overreacting, by going too far. All these types of things might happen in the future. And this is a moment where the world is not technically burning down for you to find your peace, find your spiritual connection to God and the universe, and begin to rely on it, okay, right now in calm times. I also think this is our own bodhisattva. We are all beginning to move up, okay, and enter into enlightenment. So that brings me to another topic that I want to open up, but I think it's a topic we should discuss over tea. So go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the G word. And you might wonder, well, what is the G word? I'll tell you, it's God. And isn't it funny how a lot of us have a little apprehension about using the G word, God? In fact, actually, when I began doing this 11 years ago, doing stand-up astrology, as I called it, 5 days a week, all 12 signs, I didn't even use the word God. It just psychically didn't feel like the audience could handle it. I didn't know what it was. I just felt it was sensitive. So I used to say, the universe. First I said the planets. Then I said the universe. And then I started to say God universe. And then I started to say goddess because I thought, well, people can handle a goddess, but they can't quite handle the word God just yet. And all of this comes from the fact that when it comes to the topic of God and Creator, we are very damaged. We are very damaged. In fact, this lifetime is not the only holy war. Now, this came up because I had a reading last week with yet another client who has Chiron in Pisces. She was going through her Chiron return. And it made me realize I have been seeing a lot of my clients, who have Chiron in Pisces and they're going through the return. So it's perfect timing. But when I look into their past lives with my third eye, 9 out of 10 times they were damaged by the Christian church somehow. They were burned as a witch, they were officials in the church, and they were either part of the corrupted part or they got some sort of scandal against them. Some sort of, bad damage with the church. And when I talk to them about their childhood, they usually, were forced to go to church as a child and hated it, and since then have completely put up this wall against the church. And I understand that. I think it's not a pretty thing. By the way, a Chiron return happens at age 50. So if you're 50 or around 50, you're about ready to go through your Chiron return. And a lot of the Chiron and Pisces generation are coming to their full healing. They're finally over their past life issues. And when I say over it, I mean their soul is no longer trembling from it. They've had enough time where they didn't have to go to church and they could do it the way they wanted to, and they could handle their spirituality the way they wanted to. Gosh darn it, they do after all. They watch my show, you know what I mean? So they are definitely doing it. And finally, around 50, you start to heal as your Chiron returns. Now, I have Chiron in Aries, all right? And I know from my past lives, I have issues with the church and with religion, but it was the Crusades. I know I was fighting in the Crusades. I know I was killing in the name of Christ. Oh, God. When I went back to heaven and told God I was killing in the name of Christ, I don't think God was happy with me. I was like, I thought I was doing good. So this holy war we see in the Mediterranean, right now, kind of has been going on for centuries, and the Christians were definitely killing the Arabs a long time ago and the Jews, you know what I mean? So this has been going on forever. Now, what I want to bring up today is where is this all going? Well, first of all, Chiron in your chart represents where you will in fact heal. So people who have issues with the church and issues with Christianity or any organized religion, you absolutely will heal. You're meant to heal. And I just have to say, I think that as I've come into my healing and come into my awareness, I realized that what happened a long time ago was we began connected to God. We were connected to God. And what we call evil, or the manipulators, they took over these churches. They took over Christianity. I mean, Constantine in 300 or so, deliberately organized religion for his ego desires to reunite Rome. It was all ego-intentioned, non-spiritual, controlling, beginning of religion. And I think that we have all had past lives where we suffered under these, frankly, asshole men. Okay, there's no better way to put it, of which I might have been one. I have to say, that's why I'm here touting for the good old spirituality, token now, is because I know I have faced that and I've seen it with my own third eye. But the point is that we have been damaged and it's time to heal. Now, I think this solar eclipse that we just had in this last weekend really was a powerful energy to help release from this past life trauma over whatever your notions are of spirituality. I think a lot of atheists today, when I look in their charts, they have a ton of spiritual background in their past lives. They're atheists now because they're just totally over the whole God thing, totally over the whole Christianity thing or organized religion thing, and now they're going to complete science. Is that a bad thing? Heck no. You can do anything you want. God doesn't care at all about anything, and that's where I'm starting to get to. I mean, God loves everything, but we're in total free will. Absolutely nothing can surprise Creator that you could ever do, and you can never disappoint Creator. Now, I'm bringing this up because I think it's time to take the G word back. I think we've been afraid to step into our relationship with God and talk about God and have healthy conversations about God because we've given it away to the Christians or the Jews or the this or the that, or we just don't want to deal with it or whatever. But the truth is, from my own experience, every human being has their own personal, amazing relationship to God, and it has nothing to do with the Bible, and it doesn't even have to be around. If the Bible never existed, they would have that relationship. And I don't want to get into the depth of all this because I don't want to disrupt anyone and make anyone feel offended that I brought up the G word here. But I want to invite you to begin to open up to the ideas of your own ideas of God. Develop your own relationship. Develop your own conversation. Ask your own questions to your own self and see what your answers are. If there were ever to be a religion in the future, God forbid, okay, I really think it should be made of thousands and thousands of members who all discuss what God told them, what they found out from God, and sharing what we've each found from Creator and what we've learned on our own. Everyone is, in my opinion, a potential master in the making. Everyone is an expression of Creator. Now, looking into the future of our planet, I'm bringing this up now because A, we're in Pisces, it's time to move forward. B, we're creating a new character in ourselves, and I think a past life character is coming forward. So I think a lot of people who their church personalities, or their personalities when they were a witch, or their personalities when they were burned by certain religions, I think those personalities are coming back in the Venus retrograde. I think my Crusader character is coming back, basically, or that story is being picked up again. I don't know if the character's coming back, but the story's being picked up again. And so it's really time to create and foster your own connection to God on your own terms, in your own language, in your own way, and begin to own it. I also believe that we have a lot of shifting coming ahead. We have a re-evolution of the United States of America. We have a re-evolution of the definition of man and human and what it means to be human, equality. This is part of the cycles and circles that we're going through. We're going to need light walkers that can actually stay connected to God and represent the kingdom of heaven. We're going to need a lot of light walkers strategically placed all over the world to maintain some peace and some sanity. Part of people seeing higher up is also delusion. So our spirituality and our delusion can be the same line. It's just one frequency off. And many people will be on a deluded path and they'll be on a crazy path until they realize, oh, this isn't real. Something else must be truth, okay? Just because a bunch of people are on different crazy paths doesn't mean we who have the right path and connection to spirit doesn't stay on the path and hold that note and be waiting for when those people come back. My point is, it's not important to try to get everyone under your spiritual note or on your path. It's important for you to find God on your own terms, in my opinion, at this time, and listen for your cues and when to act. I think there's a lot of sleeping light walkers out there who have powerful missions in the future. And I also think, this is a whole nother topic, but many of my viewers turn out to be past life Atlantis people. So I think there's an agenda even farther back than Christianity and religion, and that agenda is to bring back the high-dimensional 5D reality that we once lived. And I think that all of this is part of our mission. So it's time to carry your peace. It's time to find your peace, and it's time to do it while things are peaceful, okay, which is right now. Sensei will tell you when things get a little crazy, and of course I'll be with you here, with you the whole Venus retrograde. All right, my friend. Well, cheers to you and your tea today. I hope you have a fabulous week. A little cloudy here in Southern California. Couple of announcements. One, I am holding a reading sale. So if you want to know about your past lives, or if you're tied in or where your Chiron is, come on down and get a half-hour reading. You'll get a 15-minute free follow-up you can use anytime this year, which is awesome because people always have questions after the fact. I also want to say that I will be doing a spiritual expo in Denver, Colorado on St. Patrick's Day weekend, March 17th to the 19th. If you're in Colorado, I would love to see you. And lastly, I want to announce a fabulous new gathering club on Facebook. We've created the Namaste Today Club. You can join. If you're a member of Facebook, you can join. Come on down to namastetoday.club and we'll approve you and share with us what's going on with you. In fact, anyone who's in the clubs or on my website, I would love to know what you think about God. Where's your personal story? Share with me your story. You'll find that I comment back. All right, friend, have a fabulous week. I hope you find your heart and you find your peace, and I'll see you 1 week from now or on my website for my audio blogcast tomorrow at SeriousJoy.tv. Until then, remember, I love you and live, love, be.